All right, thank you for staying with us. I'll be speaking on security and the audacity for a particular Dogo Gide to impose levies on some communities in local government in Zamfara State. It seems these guys are just running riot and they are roaming free on our lands. The military will say we're neutralizing a number of them in high droves, high numbers rather, but these guys are still there. And we have been speaking to Prof. Oyesoji Aremu, who said this kind of happenings is happening in ungovernable spaces, ungoverned spaces rather. And the question I wanted to ask him before we switch, to other security concern is the fact that how can these large stretch of lands and communities, because it's not just one community, it's not just one street. How can we describe it as being ungoverned? Are you saying there are no local government secretariats there? There are no police formation there? There is no semblance of Nigerian army and all this military formation there? Is it just the people and animals and just vast mass of land that is just there, Prof?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's not just a vast land of landmass that is there. I must say that there are people, of course, but how then do we define the kind of people there? Number two, it's not as if those places are not under a kind of a local government in which is under the control of the local government and the state. Then again, it is not also talking about the issue of the presence of the security agencies, army information, or the police, especially the police. But the question is, when you have a vast land, vast land, I repeat that, and concentration in terms of governance is just in a place, and you leave others unattended to, of course, there will be issues. But you see, let me clearly say this: these bandits and terrorists should not be blamed for occupying those places.
How?
Government should be blamed. No, yes, the government should be blamed for neglecting those places. In fact, we're talking about that because government neglect the spaces, then these bandits say, "Oh, wait, this is a safe haven for us to operate." There is also a question of failure of intelligence. In fact, when we talk about ungoverned spaces, we refer to it as the competing place. Competition between the state and the non-state actors, because the state does not do what it should do in terms of having the presence of government there. Then these people take over, and the villages too. I mean, the villagers there will say, "Okay, fine. If we don't have people that can protect us, and we have people that can also come do this, what do we do?" So in that situation, they do not have a choice but to submit themselves, I mean the villagers. But then the question again is, why are they not providing intelligence? Because if they go ahead to provide intelligence in a way, of course there will be, the security agency will move in. Then again, another thing is that security agencies are aware of these ungoverned spaces. They are aware of these individuals in those places. They are aware of their nefarious activities in those places. But then, moving there itself has to be is a question. They have to be cautious, talking about reconnaissance and everything. How did they move there? And for them to move there, what would they do for us to be able to say, even we move there, how do we get this place from what we've been able to do from these people and make the space or the spaces secure? Unfortunately, however, there are issues also with the question of getting them to be able to do this, and it's a problem seriously for them to be able to do so. So in a way, these bandits and terrorist leaders will continue to do what they do until there is a kind of serious intelligence collaboration for them to be able to decimate them and get them arrested.
Okay, Prof, you talked about neglected spaces in the region. What is your idea? What do you think can be done with those neglected spaces that could curb these bandits from actually taking possession or making base in such places?
Yeah, I think what should be done is very simple. there should be government presence in the government spaces. As soon as you leave the place, there's no governance there. Yes, it's under your local government, it's under your territory, and so on and so forth. But the fact is that if you don't do anything there, some people have to go and occupy the spaces. So that is exactly what the government needs to do. There must be the governance presence. The efforts need to be made also to ensure security is also there. If you do not do this, then we have the question of insecurity again. And of course, those people, bandits and terrorists, will continue to have great day in those places.
Okay, Prof, if it has been agreed that these civilians actually live in fear of these bandits, are we saying that we don't have enough security personnel to actually come into place and try to make these people feel safe, to be able to provide, because we're talking about intel, that these people are not able to provide intel because they live in fear. If these people feel that they are safe under the military or under the government itself, I'm sure this intel will be really easy for us to get. So are we saying that we lack enough security manpower in the country?
That's a very question coming up, a very good one coming up. We talk about the question of the number of security personnel. Yes, I would say we do not have enough security personnel. In fact, again, even the ones we have are going through what I call fatigue. Imagine people going to the war front, and of course spending months in the war front, just seeing their loved ones and so on and so forth. Then there will be issue of fatigue. There will be issue of not them getting motivation to be able to do this. We even have the question of issues of some of these personnel deserting for not wanting to fight. These are cases, these are what we find out from the field. And for this very reason, there will be issues because we do not have enough personnel to move there. Even if we had enough personnel, we will have enough logistics to be able to move to those places, talking about what needs to be done to be able to decimate the places, the camps of the enemies. And again, then we should also forget that even when people want to move there, talking about the issue of the military personnel moving to the theater of wars or getting to those spaces, then they have to be motivated to go there. And we do not have enough personnel. Casualties will be many. And remember, first and foremost, they are civilians. Sorry, they are Nigerians as well. Because they are Nigerians as well, blood runs through their veins as well. And for this very reason, they have their own life to protect as well. Although they've sworn to an oath to protect the integrity, the sovereignty of the country, swear an oath also to protect people, lives and property. But first and foremost, they are human beings as well, and they have to also be very careful.
All right. The handlers of the government, the presidency, and many persons will say, yes, the security has improved. The terrorists and the bandits are not hoisting their flags on any of our lands again. But these are some of the things that we are seeing. Something similar, quite similar, is happening in Niger State as well. And it seems the people are helpless. So, is it that the people in power are not seeing what we are seeing? What is the reality? Because Commissioner of Police in Zamfara State, Mr. Mohammed Dalijan, has confirmed that, yes, this is the case. The guy has served the people of these communities, and those ones, they are now running around. But the police commissioner is saying, don't worry, everything is under control. And the people were asking, how can this be under control? Do you have enough men to intercept signals, to intercept intels, to go after these people? My question is this: the security operatives, the chief of defense staff, and all of these persons are saying everything is under control. We are making progress. But in the middle of that, boom, you still have this kind of situation. Are they disconnected from reality? Or we are the ones, when I mean we, the people, and maybe social commentators like yourself, are the ones blowing it out of proportion?
Thank you so much. Let me start from social commentators and social like myself. We are not blowing it out of proportion. We interrogate what happens on the field. We interrogate statistics. We interrogate information for us to be able to place the issue in proper perspectives, research-wise. That is one. Even for people like you who are also critical stakeholders, in this area. You also talk about it. If we do not talk about it, the government will not know there are issues. Let me put it that way. The second question is that, do they not aware? Are they not aware? Yes, they are aware. Honestly, they are aware there are issues with the issue of insecurity coming to Ogoma spaces. 2 days ago, I think the governor for your state even raised an alarm that many of the bandits that were probably under fire in the northeast or northwest are migrating. I use the word migrating to your state. He said that. In fact, he said that because he had a security meeting that morning. In the morning of the day, he said that thing. And it was, I think, it was on Monday this week. He said that, and for that very reason, he raised an alarm, which people have to watch because he had the security report about that. So government is aware of this. But the question now is one thing to be aware, it's another thing to take decisive actions on this. So in a way, government is aware, but the question now is the action being taken enough for them, or for government to be able to take over those ungoverned spaces? And the third one is, and I said it the other time, is the number of personnel. Do you have the right number? We do not have the right number. Do we have the right motivation? We do not have the right motivation. If you are in the theater of war for months and so on, and you come back after 6 months, another group is asked to go there. In fact, this is even against the recommended thing globally. It has to be 3 months. After 3 months, another people go. But who will go? Well, even we don't have enough personnel to be able to replace those in the war front or in theater of wars. So these are the questions, these are the issues. If they are able to address this, they will be able to say, okay, we can probably do better. But more importantly is the fact that government is aware of these ungoverned spaces, but not enough action or decision is being taken to address it.
Prof, because of time, and for people watching, actually, this is where we talk about issues of public importance. And just like Prof. Oyesoji said, if we won't talk about it, if we are just glossing over it, how do we make progress? Because we must identify the issues and prefer solutions as well. And that is why we are Prof here, and of course, many persons of good conscience to speak to this matter. Because when we talk about these issues, you see handlers of the government at every levels, people who are in power, try to, name tag people who talk about these as doomsayers. No. The issue is to identify the problem and, of course, prefer solutions, and that is exactly what we are doing here. It was reported, Prof, like 2-3 days ago, bandits overran a military, base in Borno State. Yesterday, it was reported that 6 soldiers died and some vigilantes as well. This morning, newspapers are reporting the numbers of the casualty keeps growing. And my colleague and I are saying this is not entirely new, by the way, unfortunately, but one needs to study. You're a researcher, of course, so maybe you can help us. How does it work? Like some group of persons, of course, they are armed, they are not state actors. We regard them as bandits and terrorists. What kind of audacity do they have? One runs through them that they can just arrange themselves, pick up their arms, and have the audacity to go and attack a military base, and they go away with it. What informs that? Are they making a statement, or what is the notion actually, if you can help us?
Thank you so much. As you have said, they are making a statement. And of course, this statement they are making is a very serious one. You will recall that this is not the first time we have this kind of an issue.
Right.
It happened in Kaduna. It happened even in Abuja. And if they could do it successfully, in quote, in Kaduna, in Abuja, that even in Niger State in the past, I did a research of recent in which I run to the demography of the war on terrorism and how the bandits and terrorists have also unleashed violence, not on civilians, even on the security personnel. Initially, way back in the year 2009, 10, and 11, 12, it was against the police. In fact, that was the reason why the army came to the scene, because the police was unable to be able to address this. Then we now have the army. And these people are not taking the battle to the war front, to the tent of the army, Nigerian army, other security personnel. So they are making a statement. And this shows that they are displaying a kind of audacity to say that if you can do it for people that are harmed, people that are supposed to protect Nigerians, then it can happen to other civilians. So it's a very serious statement they are making. And it only means one thing, that as much as possible, I think the Nigerian army that is doing a very human job, I must say, because again, I work with them, we see what they do, and we see what happened to them in the war front, theater of operation. Then I think they need to do more for them to be able to do this. Then lastly, it's also the question of lack of intelligence problem. You see, before these people come, they must have made plans, everything. They must have resorted to do this is how we will strike, this is what we will go. They move, they go through some places. The question is, don't we have checkpoints before they get there? You know what happens if you get to the military formations? So these are the things I think we just need to address, and they need to do more for us to be able to have a safer Nigeria in the year 2025.
Okay, Prof, are we going to say that there is a mole in the military? Because I know that some years back there was speculations that some of these bandits were actually being sponsored by some persons in power. Are we going to say there is a mole? Because for them to have the effrontery, the plan, the tactical advantage and everything to have actually struck this military base, what are we going to say? Is it that there's a mole in the military?
Yes, thank you so much. As a researcher, I don't thrive so much on facts that are not before me, or that are not really defined. Yes, in the past, we heard that, and of course, we also know that the bandits and the terrorist group have a kind of people giving them information. So in a way, this is a theory, which of course cannot just be wished away and say, no, it's not correct. But even if it's so, even if it's not correct, the question is we are having result, effect of it. So what we need to do again, as I said, is that the security agencies need to go back, especially the army. Unfortunately, the role the army is supposed to play in Nigeria is to guard against external aggression. But right now, they are even working again, talking about internal aggression. So it's like the army itself is overwhelmed, I must say this. And of course, the personnel are overwhelmed, I must say this. And of course, they are going through also a kind of a mental health issues, I must say this. And they are human beings, as I said, at the same time, but we need to do more. So cannot really rule out in total or comprehensively the question of a mole there. But even at that, we just need to further interrogate that.
Okay, if this military personnel are being fatigued, like you said, isn't it a call for the government to look into getting more hands for us? I mean, like earlier, my colleague said, in these areas, is it that we do not have the police, we do not have the JTF, we do not have other law enforcement agencies that could actually aid in some of these problems?
Yes, yes. I think we just need to have more of these people going into the army, going to the security, the police, and so on. As you said, they are fatigued. The question of hunger, eaters, and so many things. Even when they are in the military operations, go for military operation rather. So they need to get more hands, more personnel. Then motivate those that are on ground. At least they are doing human job. They are doing very well. And when they come back, do we really recognize and salute what they have done the last 6 months or even 2-3 years in the war front, in terms of operations? So we need to address this and get more personnel. And again, not only getting more personnel, getting more on logistics, then to be able to assist them, to be able to do the war, fight the war against terrorism in Nigeria and banditry.
Also, okay, Prof, being that you talked about these people are hungry, these people are tired, and all the rest, are we in any way insinuating that the government is not actually providing enough support for them in parts of care, like food, enough food, water, healthcare, welfare, like in general?
No, not that. You know, when you are in the war front or theater of operations, supply of this thing may be very difficult to get to them. Yeah, they go They also have support, community area support, of course, people that also go artillery and so on and so forth. But at a point, you plan to stay in a theater of war operation for about 3-4 months, but that is not getting to up to a year. So how about the supply? How do you bring the supply? You must have cleared some way before you get to where you are going, camp there. Then where you camp, where you have cleared, of course, you put people there to be able to ensure that bandits and enemies are not coming again. But at a point, they will run out of supplies. So it's not that the government is not doing enough. The government is doing enough, I must say that. In fact, many of them, they told us from the interview we had that the government is doing enough. But what we are saying that fatigue will surely set in after a number of period. And the reason why, talking about the recommended international something, you can't stay in a war front for more than 3 or 6 months. Women is more than 6 months, something else coming. But for them to be able to replace them with another formation, that could be issue. There are many formations as well. If a formation is there, some people are there waiting. When they come, another one will go. But the period in which they stay in the theater of operation is longer, and for that very reason, fatigue setting and many other things setting, missing their loved ones. Imagine you being in the theater of operation for months. You've not called your spouses, your children for months and weeks. But if you are there, for you to make a phone call, you have to climb the mountain or climb the tree to make a phone call because of lack of signal. And these are issues. This could demotivate them. So efforts must be made to address all these issues to even help the personnel. They are doing well. They are doing fantastically well. But again, they need more support, cooperation for them to be able to deliver. Thank you.
Right. And, still talking about the overrunning of the military base in Borno State, one will say the military is one organization all over the world that, one should calculate the cost and be ready for consequences before you make a move against them. Now, this is one too many. You have said it as well. It happened in Kaduna. It has happened in the FCT, in Abuja. It has happened even in the Northeast a couple of times. Now, either it's Lakurawa or ISWAP or a group loyal to ISIS or Boko Haram, any of these guys, for them to make this move against the army, because one thing is this, for the purpose of explanation and the people watching, it's another thing for you to be an ambush. That means they were waiting somewhere and they lay ambush. It's another thing for these army guys to be traveling or they are working and somebody, attacks them. But this one, they left wherever they are and they came against a base and overrun it. And nobody needs to tell you that they will have carted away very important and expensive military grade kind of weapons, which is an armament to them again. Do you find these things embarrassing and ridiculous on the military institution that these kind of guys that they are called ragtag at some point, I don't think they are ragtag again, maybe they are more sophisticated than we give them the credit for, the criminals, do you find it ridiculous or is just one of those things, it happens?
Thank you so much. Yes, it happens, but it's also very, very ridiculous and also very, very embarrassing. If those who are supposed to provide security, people, you know what it takes before you get to army information, the kind of checks you will go through. You know what it takes, even the kind of barriers you will go through. But when these people now have that tenacity, that audacity to move in, I think it's not just a personal embarrassment. I would say it is a national embarrassment. I must say it. That it doesn't also portray us very well as a country. That these guys can come overrun a military base. It shows a lot. As you have said, of course, that's what will happen. They will cut away. They must have cut away so many things, which they will further come and use against innocent Nigerians and some other villagers. So these are things and the Nigerian army needs to also work again, rework the strategies, the logistics, rework the reconnaissance, rework also the intelligence gathering. Then again, I think in every military formation or basis, I think you can also not do, but have the kind of intelligence. Even talking about community intelligence. When you say community intelligence, the community you are, leaders are there. They are, of course, working with leaders too, you have to be very, very careful too. Some of these so-called community leaders too also are a kind of spies for these bandits, for these terrorists. Of course, they get paid for it.
Prof, sir, if I may quickly butt in here, you have talked about the people and the leaders and the community people. Do you think the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force, the military formations, and the architecture, especially in this fight against this extremism that we are seeing, do you think they have the support of the people? Does the people trust them enough, to say we have piece of information? Because there have been incidents in which some community residents will come and give information to the military, and the military will act on the information. And after some time, these criminals will go and gather, regroup, and attack such communities, massacre them in the most gruesome way to show that you gave information, you people should not try it again in your life, and you are being punished for that kind of situation. So where does the people stay in all of these? Who should they trust when they come out with this information? And do you think with the psyche, with the terrorism and this violence being wreaked on the people, do you think the people are still emboldened to come forth with information, knowing fully well there might be repercussions or consequences?
Yes, thank you. We are having a kind of either-headed war that is multifaceted. If the army is doing a very good job, as I said, then you can't win war against terror groups or bandits without also the help, the support of the community. Mind you, the personnel are going to a place they are not really familiar with. Of course, they will do a kind of surveillance to be able to know what is in that area. But ideally, and of course, as expectedly, they need the cooperation of the community. Unfortunately, as you have said, the community will provide information. These people will get to know that the community provide information, and they go back to overrun the community. So it's a problem. The question is, how do we balance this? Kind of a thing for us to be able to provide information for the military security personnel, then for the personnel also to share the information among other security agencies. Then do we get these people secured after providing the information without having any repercussion or counter effect against the community that provided the information. These are the issues we just need to address. And ideally, I think there must also be a kind of what I refer to or call simultaneous cooperation between the military, the community, or this discussion the community, and as much as possible provide information. Even when you provide information, the military should not leave, or the security agency should not leave this community alone. At least make sure that the bandits or the groups is totally wiped off. And of course, that get a military base in that for formation in that community to be able to provide the community. If they don't do this, of course, there will be counter effect of providing information to the military by the bandits.
Okay, Prof, with all that has been happening with these bandits attacking villages and communities, Nigerians or people would naturally say that, okay, this is actually a case of banditry. Now we're coming to the case where these people actually attacked a military-based camp. Isn't this showing a form of reluctance on the government's part, being that these people are well aware that in this country or our governments are slow to response? Because if we want to link it to other sectors of the economy where people have to complain about calling on the different sectors when there is an emergency and there's this slow response to coming, does it show that these people already know that, oh, if we do this thing, we have a particular time, within this time, we know that there's nothing that can be done in this country, or there's nothing that can be done within this particular frame of time to actually help out or help the military out of that?
No, I do not think so. I do not think so. Not in any way. I do not think so. I think ideally is these people, the bandits and terrorists and these non-state actors are only trying to prove some points to the government that they can do it. and have done it. And mind you, they also ran out of ammunition, arms and ammunition, and for them to be able to get more of this thing, they say, of course, for them it's also a suicide mission, of course, for them to be able to get, they know it's a suicide mission, and for that kid, of course, they've signed up for anything can happen. It is the military now that want to be more daring, that have to be more careful, that have to be more secured, getting them secure. You see, it's one thing to provide security for people. You as a unit, you as a professional, you also want to ensure your own security as well. I think the military is also to secure themselves very, very well before they can secure Nigerians. Of course, innocent Nigerians as well. So it's not a question of these people thinking that the government will not do anything. I'm sure that the information that was overrun in the Borno state, of course, the reprisal attack will be very, very serious. I'm very sure about that.
Okay, you said that these people particularly are trying to prove that they can do something. They're trying to show the government that they can do something.
Yes.
It's not, well, we'd actually say that they're not trying to show. They have actually done something. Now, what is the government doing about this thing that has been done?
Well, the government, like as I said the other time, the government will surely do more about that. And of course, I know there will be meetings of service chiefs, of course, army personnel, also top army personnel to be able to address this. So the government is doing a lot, and I'm very sure the government will do more about this through the military. I'm very, very sure of that.
And quickly, because we're short of time, let me start from here. As we coast home, that the response, you have said, it will be fierce. But when we say,
yes,
shouldn't we be aggressive and, possibly stage strategy and take the battle to these criminals to get them rooted off our lands instead of waiting for response? We are always the ones that will wait, and sometimes when the attack comes, and then we'll go after these guys. Shouldn't somebody has said, Nasir Al-Rufat at a point said, maybe we should carpet bomb these persons. Many persons said, oh, there will be collateral damage. The man said, we just have to pick a side because we can't keep, harboring these guys. And many persons will say again, Prof, what has happened to all these Tucanos that we bought, these Apache jets that we have bought, and that it seems we are not, getting the result with it, and we are still investing more. The Nigerian Air Force are still taking delivery of so many super fighter jets, the ones we have. What are we doing with it?
Well, thank you so much. I think the military is being very, very careful. Let me put that way. Again, because if they go ahead just to become area bombardment, and then with heavy artilleries and fighter jets and so on, there could be a kind of damages, not only in terms of properties, the loss of lives. Remember that several times Nigeria have been accused of this, that having the fatality, civilian fatality, and for that very reason, Army is being very, very careful. Unfortunately, too, these bandits and terror groups have on these emotions to be able to get themselves protected. They use people to say, okay, please cry out and say this is happening. So the Army will always want, the military will always want to be careful before they go into an area to ensure that as much as possible, minimally there will be a kind of damages for civilians. This they do, and when they do this as much as possible to be able to decimate totally. So I'm sure the military will just not go just in a hurry to go to a place to be able to carry out this bombardment, but they have to be very careful and ensure that the damages will not be too colossal when it comes to civilians.
All right, Prof, I'm being told we have less than 5 minutes, and I have like 3 questions. Very quickly, what has happened? There was a time that we were having joint national, patrol, with our cross-border neighbors, Niger, Chad, and all of these guys, we are doing things together, but it seems that has stopped. Is it because even before the military intervention in some of these countries, those things have degenerated? We are not really together. And, there are multi-state patrol interventions that we have, because I'm saying this, many persons will say, if you come against them, these bandits, criminals, that's who they are, from Zamfara. They will move to Katsina. Or if you come to Katsina, they will move to Kaduna. Is it not possible that we have a wholesome kind of intervention that would, come against these guys from all these states? And, if they are trying to flee off the borders, the guys at the other side will come at them as well. We had something similar like that before. What has happened?
Yes, you are right. In fact, you are bringing up another dimension to the conversation this morning. I was talking about the international dimension to the conversation. As you have said in the past, we've had cooperation with Chad, Cameroon, even Niger Republic.
Right.
And what happened the last 2-3 years or so in these countries having a kind of counter effect on Nigeria. The military coup in those countries. Unfortunately, the position of the country, this country did not like the position of the country. Remember that these countries are severely relationship with the France. And at the time they have severe relationship with France, Nigeria government is now romancing France. So I think you can imagine that kind of international issues there. Yes, Nigeria's government is to have a good bilateral relationship with France, where the affected countries colonized by France and say, look, enough is enough. For that very reason, there's a conflict already. So we would not expect the cooperation from Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. And even although Benin Republic is still under the civilian administration, but one way or another, they have something in common, which has to do the policy they have that bind all of them together as a French colony, or French colonies, people that way. So these are issues. I think we need to go back there. I remember sometime last year there was this army chiefs of ECOWAS in Abuja. They will have this sub-regional cooperation. They just promise to fund or do more in the sub-regional cooperation. Yes, the government is doing that, but we are not having the expected cooperation. Our borders are porous.
Right.
What has to be checked by Niger and Chad Republic, they are not doing so. So the more reason we have this problem, infiltration of these bandits and terror groups from the Sahel region,
right,
in Africa.
Right. And I'll take this as your part in short. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, that's a government institution, released like a month ago thereabout, released a report about the state of security in Nigeria. And they said from May 2023, to April 2024, that is a year, 12 months, the Nigerians have coughed out 2.2 trillion naira in ransom payment. The highest being paid across the Northwest and the least being paid across the Southeast, 2.2 trillion naira. The question Nigerians will ask is, how are these monies gotten? How does this exchange end? A whopping sum of 2.2 trillion naira, people have gotten that and paid it through trauma, through pains, and all of these things. A certain Dogo Gide has, imposed levy again now, and if nothing is being done, is going to collect it again from these communities. And the question is, where is intelligence? We have been told about BVN, NIN, and some of these interventions. It seems not to be working. Prof, 2.2 trillion naira.
Yes, I can agree with that statistic. It is correct. I also did a paper sometime published last year in the US, where I read out many of these statistical information as regards ransom that were paid in Nigeria. The question now is, how were the money or this money, let me put that way, because that will be in naira and foreign currency. How did they get it?
Exactly.
People use so many means to be able to get this money. And that is why we also need financial intelligence to be able to address this issue. The money goes to some places. Unfortunately, it doesn't go to people where the money are paid to in Nigeria or outside Nigeria. You cannot do anything about that. So I think what we need to firm up here is our financial intelligence as well. However, the CBI will come and work out to be able to checkmate this. People have to go and drop the money in sacks. In Ghana must go. So not necessarily through the bank transfer. So these are the questions we need to be interrogating. Money being taken in heavy bags, Ghana must go and drop at a location. And unfortunately, one way or the other, we also have some unscrupulous elements in the security working with these people. these are the questions, and these are the issues, and we need to address this very well.
We need to address, and of course, we continue to do that so that we have a safer country, the
Yes.
one that we can close our two eyes and go to sleep and wake up without danger or as minimal as possible. Professor Oyesoji Aremu is a university down and security expert. Thank you, Prof, for your time today.
It's my pleasure always. Thank you
All right.
so much
Thank
for
you very
inviting me
much.
on live.
Thank you very much. And, you know, it's an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
Until we have, just like I said, the kind of country that you can sleep with your two eyes and wake up and you are still in your bed, you are still in your home, and nothing is missing. We won't stop talking about it.
Yeah, as much as security is everyone's business,
It is.
I also talk about those that are always at the forefront of this, always put out their lives on the
Yes.
line to make sure that we are good, we sleep well, at least to some extent. And now it has gotten to the loss of lives.
On them, on the
yeah,
same people.
on the same people. And we say our hearts are all with their
With them,
families,
yeah.
for all those that have lost people, the military personnel, the civilians, all around. They say it's really a sad one.
Yeah.
To lose someone. We can't even begin to imagine, but our
can't.
hearts are really with you all.
Yeah, we must go.
Yeah, we
should
must go.
Yeah.
I am Uzoms. Okechukwu. We'll see you tomorrow, so do not miss it tomorrow.
Right, and of course, this will be my parting shot. The business of any serious government is this first and foremost business is the security of lives and property. Please do well, you know, to do this, to make sure you really take this as a business. I was talking to people in place of power, and of course, we the people as well. You know what they say, when you see something, make sure you say something, but then be careful of the person you are saying there's something to. And to the guys in uniform, that the Nigerian Police, NSCDC, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force, you know, the Navy, civilian JTF, every security architecture, you know, formations, this one is for you. We are with you. We support you. And of course, you are the real MVPs. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye.